Just I want to share some thoughts here. So, with the age of corruption being so apparent, especially like Tucker Carlson getting fired for revealing the truth about the January 6th Trump supporters, very fucking evil government does not give a shit about the lives they destroy and their lust for wealth and power. Very fucking evil. And so it tells me that they're probably going to legalize marijuana federally in the United States. This is a nightmare for me and many others. I know I'm not alone on this. I can't be the only one whose life it's destroyed, who it negatively impacts. God doesn't seem to give a shit. So it seems pointless to count on religion either. For example, here on YouTube, someone recognized me. I didn't recognize them from Discord, I guess. 2 people now. But how can I count on a Catholic or Christian church that puts the song Gangster's Paradise to the St. Michael's Prayer? The church has been corrupted by the same Jews, and this might sound like, conspiracy abstract. No, literally, it's not the Jews, like every Jews, but Chuck Schumer is Jewish, Lou Adler, Leo Cohen, those type of Jews have also corrupted the church. That the same Jews that have corrupted the state, essentially. And much in the same manner, marijuana, medical marijuana in the church, right? Yeah, things like that. Drug use in the church, hypersexuality in the form of LGBT, etc. I think many Christians are calling it modernism or wokeism, but it's Jews. And what made me really aware of that, because that might come off as anti-Semitic, but I can promise you that is neither anti-Semitic nor philo-Semitic, but objectively true. Rabbi Tovia Singer. I purchased his Let's Get Biblical series. And there's a part where he has an interview with Ray Comfort, and he explains how the Jews, as in, his organization at least knows about this, at the very least, they trace the Kohanim DNA, the line of Aaron, which was the brother of Moses. Jews are so heavily inbred that they kept the bloodlines pure for 2,000 years. And he said that it was done at the University of New Mexico, where I'm from, Albuquerque, where I grew up, born and raised, and that it cost a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars. And my only thought was, where does dirt poor Hispanic Albuquerque get millions of dollars? Because I know that town very well, or at least I used to. It was largely poverty, drugs, crime, and gang violence. And I instantly put it together that Jews had been the ones behind the marijuana industry in New Mexico decades before it was legalized. They turned a profit from the poor, from the criminals, the welfare dependent, etc. They made a profit from people that were not very profitable. It's impressive, the amount of intelligence and prowess. They didn't give a shit about lives like mine that were destroyed by their marijuana legalization. And, I realize this video might get banned for saying that because it's the truth, and you'll get banned for saying the truth on social media, but, god damn, dude, it's so fucked up what you guys are doing. Like, what about my rights? Don't I have the right to live not high? Secondhand marijuana sets off my schizophrenia. Involuntary exposure to secondhand marijuana. Where I'm living right now, it's currently illegal, and the only thing that's stopped the involuntary exposure to secondhand marijuana is the fact that I can call the police and say, hey, I smell marijuana, it's coming from the neighbors, see a guy outside smoking it, and they'll actually show up. That's the only thing that seems to work. Nothing else has ever worked. And but when Tovia Singer told me that, I remembered Jews that I knew in real life. I went to a Messianic synagogue near San Mateo and Central, and I was living at a Taekwondo studio where a Jewish man had moved in. Nobody was smoking marijuana there. It was connected to a daycare, right? And you're not supposed to, the laws of New Mexico were that nobody's supposed to put a dispensary within 40 feet or something of a daycare, specifically because of secondhand marijuana will cause kids to have lifelong addiction issues if they're around secondhand marijuana from childhood. But this Jewish guy who owns a speaker store, he did not give a shit. And when I confronted him about this, I told him your secondhand marijuana smoke is harming the kids. It's harming me. It's setting off my schizophrenia. His response was, well, I'm Jewish. What he said. Exactly. Therefore, the laws don't apply to him. The laws of the Gentiles don't apply to him because he's Jewish. So, what are my options long term, right? Because without marijuana, like with marijuana criminalization and the aggressive enforcement of law, I can lead a happy life. I can lead a very good life. I can get a career. I can get, all that stuff, success. It doesn't make sense to me that the bankers and government running society would push people towards poverty and addiction and crime and welfare, but that's exactly what they're doing. Hence the marijuana, right? That helps achieve that goal, those goals, among other goals. But with secondhand, it makes it to where suicide looks very appealing because that's the only escape from marijuana. And I know every Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Jew, atheist that I've ever told this to does not give a shit. If I tell them, hey, secondhand marijuana causes me hallucinations, suicidal, homicidal thoughts, voices in my head, etc., it's like there's this wall that doesn't let the thought enter their mind. They're just like, well, fuck him. It's not true. I'm telepathic. I'm in your head. Yeah, it's not true. You're lying. Right? Like that sort of thing. So the only escape is death. And Minnesota, from what my roommate told me, has legalized the same, suicide policies that Canada has, the MAID Act. Now, I think this is really fun because the future is going to be really bad without people of a higher intelligence. And my IQ is roughly like 130, 140. Plus, I'm one of the few people I know who actually wants to get a job and not do drugs and not be a parasite on society, but an employed person, instead of just getting high and get everything for free. Shouldn't that be positively rewarded instead of punished? Like, shouldn't be doing the right thing be rewarded instead of punished? And telling the truth, shouldn't that be rewarded instead of punished? No, it's not. I mean, it should be, but it's not. So definitely that seems to be an escape. I can finally get away from the weed by dying. And Catholicism and Christianity doesn't allow that because they're masochists, right? They want me to suffer as much as possible. They love suffering. They're all about it. But Judaism does allow for that. They say if you're going to suffer, if living is going to be just awful, horrific pain, there is a loophole you're allowed to commit suicide. And this was when the Romans were conquering Judea, and they had heard all the torture techniques of the Romans, like skinning people alive and gutting them alive and things like that. So yeah, they committed suicide with the kids and everything. But the other option is moving to, say, Russia or Singapore. Singapore just executed a cannabis smuggler, and Russia arrested Brittany Griner. So this tells me that they still have some morality in government. And this isn't meant to be anti-Semitic. I actually was checking out Chabad and was wondering if maybe Chabad would help me accomplish this goal, but Jews hate Gentiles, I guess. Like, they didn't give a shit. They're like, fuck no, we're not helping you. Why would we help you? We hate you. You're a Gentile. This is revenge against, Rome and Edom and all this stuff. But, yeah. So then I tried with the Eastern Orthodox Church on Vashon Island because I used to live there. And I called them, and they didn't even call me back. So those are my two options long term, and I'm hoping that maybe I can stick it out long enough to get my degree, which will make me more valuable as an immigrant to Russia or Singapore. But if not, there's always, filing a thing for Minnesota to get killed.